Jaguar Wright just spoke out about 50 Cent's viral Diddy documentary, and what she is saying about 50 Cent and Netflix is shocking. According to Jaguar Wright, what 50 Cent showed was only a small part of the truth. Tapes, testimonies, and real crimes involving not just Diddy but the entire industry were intentionally left out because Netflix was not willing to go that far.
That's the problem with it. It was done too well. It left out too many things.
So can you speak on Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent said that this is the first one.
I'm sure.
There's hundreds of hours of more footage.
I'm sure. There was hundreds of hours of shit that was confiscated from all of Diddy's homes in that HSI raid that never made it to the trial. I wonder where it made it to.
Jaguar Wright recently gave an interview where she explained everything that was removed from the documentary. After watching it, Jaguar spoke with Gene Deal, the only person who truly spent time with Diddy and whose opinion mattered. Gene was Diddy's former bodyguard. He witnessed the violence, intimidation, cover-ups, and the people who were protected along the way. When Jaguar realized that Gene Deal was missing from a documentary that claimed to be The Reckoning, she knew something was wrong. She spoke directly to Gene, and that is when she understood the truth.
Would you call the documentary educational, informational, entertaining? Where would you say this documentary?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
And it's sad because there's a lot of stuff in there that's true. But there's enough left out.
Jaguar said the timing of the documentary's release and its focus on old stories felt suspicious. She believes it was not about exposing the truth, but about distracting the public. According to Jaguar, this is why the documentary relied heavily on old footage, recycled narratives, and incidents the industry had quietly accepted for years. It was not meant to reveal hidden truths. It was designed to control the conversation.
The story isn't over. I agree. Like, that's the thing. The story's not even being told. Because in order to tell the actual whole story, you would have to include everyone that is involved. But no, this is about saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Okay, Diddy's going to jail. He's going to do his time. I don't know what that appeal is looking like right now. Because see, the one thing that all of this documentary shit is doing is definitely fucking up his possibility for an appeal to get out early. Especially with the judge and them and the appeal board having to look at the footage of him sitting there with Mark Agnifilo, pretty much working on how to fix the trial.
And for him to be watching the feds watching him.
Yeah, filming the feds.
Filming.
Jaguar said Diddy became the scapegoat. The industry needed someone to blame, and Diddy was the perfect target. She pointed out that CNN had footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie for over a decade before releasing it. She questioned why the FBI only started investigating after the statute of limitations had already passed. The documentary did not address this and avoided the most important question. If Diddy was being investigated for ratio, where were his co-conspirators?
I mean, they did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it. Blame it all on Diddy. And the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip hop, and all of hip hop is uncomfortable with this. Meanwhile, you got people like Ja Rule who on the low key, allegedly, Gene Deal has exposed for having his own nude tryst freak-offs with Diddy.
In that courtroom.
Do you think that hip hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth in it.
The biggest selling point of the documentary was the unreleased footage that 50 Cent somehow obtained. However, Jaguar pointed out that when the documentary was first announced, 50 did not even have access to that footage. She questioned how 50 could have known what was going to happen to Diddy before it actually happened.
He announced he was going to be doing the documentary December 2023 with Netflix. And the star footage that you use to get people to re-upload or resubscribe to Netflix to make this the #1 in their TV shows division for almost 2 weeks straight. Beating out Stranger Things. How much stranger is that?
I'm not Becky.
This footage didn't even exist when you said you were going to be doing this documentary. So we've got a videographer, a rogue videographer that has this very, very, very explosive, very explosive footage of him literally sitting on camera, planning how to go after survivors, how to poison the jury pool, how to fix his trial in advance before he's even arrested. I mean, like, is anybody not forgetting when Mark Garrett, when Mark Agnifilo was sitting there talking to the sons in the hallway, and they're sitting there filming, and he's sitting up there. Yeah, well, see, what we got to do is we got to go and we got to put countersuits on all of these people. We have to create lawsuits ourselves. He's sitting there talking about creating lawsuits to affect public perception. He's talking about that.
Gene Deal refused to participate in the documentary after realizing that 50 Cent had no control over it. Gene was the one with real proof. According to Gene, he sat down with 50 Cent for 45 minutes. During that conversation, he realized that 50 did not control what footage was included, who was paid, or which stories could legally be told. Those decisions were made by Netflix and the production team. Once Gene understood this, he walked away.
That they was going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story, and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound. I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff. The first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. You give, if you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, You know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're going to pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another. And I was like, yeah, all right, well, then, F you. I spoke to 50. And then she said, 50? And this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and go out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if the 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. Some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're gonna get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more.
Gene agreed with everything Jaguar said. He explained that he had physical proof, not just stories. According to Gene, this proof included video footage, photographs, documents, and physical evidence collected over many years. He shared this with the production team, but when he tried to negotiate payment for his time and materials, he said they dismissed his requests. He believes they were not interested in evidence and only wanted someone to sit and talk without substance.
The behind the scenes footage, they got a Diddy leading up to him getting arrested, and how you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going to do something and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big. It wasn't only Tupac. You understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in, you got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy from its conception as doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clyde Davis. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't able to tell that story because they didn't have no intel on that story or what went down, or they didn't do their investigations right, which he also led up to the reason why Wolf ain't here today. You understand? They didn't tell that story. They didn't tell a story about Jessica Rosenbaum, who was at the City College situation.
At the same time, some footage included in the documentary could have been used in court. For example, Diddy's own lawyers did not know he had been recording their conversations. If jurors had seen footage showing Diddy attempting to poison the jury pool, it could have helped the FBI. Jaguar also said it is obvious that Netflix is lying about how the footage was obtained.
Can you imagine if they had had any testimony from Little Rod and the footage that he had from that incident, that firearm incident where the guy G was damn near mortally wounded and was losing his life, and the footage that he had from that? Can you imagine if that had been shown to the jury?
I can, man.
Like, why not? If it was available for them to get it from Little Rod to put it in a documentary, and Little Rod hasn't gone to trial yet, then why in God's name hasn't any, why did any of this make it to the feds?
That's a great question. Why didn't they even subpoena or
50
talk to?
cents, 50, Curtis Jackson announced in December of 2023, after Cassie's lawsuit came out, that he was going to be doing his own documentary. Isn't it very clever that all of this, alarming and stuff didn't come out of his documentary until almost 6 months after his verdict came in? 2 months after he had been sentenced? It was almost as if they were holding the documentary to not get in the way of his trial. Like, that's the thing that's tripping me out when it's coming to all of this Curtis Jackson praise that's coming on. And there's a lot of people. If he didn't get paid, usually it's like 90 days before you start, you got to put in an invoice and all of that stuff. Like, his business machine was still businessing. You telling me nobody around him. That sounds like that sounds like a setup to me.
Sounds like a setup.
It sounds like a setup to me. And when you think about the fact that, another conversation that we've been having, a lot of people aren't paying attention to the money behind the machine. BlackRock, Vanguard, owners of Diageo, the company that Diddy tried to go after and had to settle out of court for, with sealed findings, and nobody really knows how that turned out before his life got turned upside down and HSI came in raiding, grabbing all kinds of evidence and all kinds of stuff. They're part owners in Netflix. Did you know that?
That's information.
The very company that has allegedly been going out of their way to work with the higher ups to make Diddy's life a living hell have a stake in the platform that's now ruining what's left of his reputation worldwide. But after his trial,
Jaguar said the one thing the documentary did accomplish was destroying any chance of Diddy winning an appeal. Never-before-seen footage showed Diddy allegedly scheming with his lawyers and possibly planning crimes. This angered Diddy's legal team. Diddy secretly recorded phone calls with his lawyers, and they were exposed without knowing it.
Boy, Diddy really screwed over Mark Agnifilo. I gotta say, this is awful that Diddy owes his life to Mark Agnifilo, literally his life, because he could have gotten life in prison were it not for Mark Agnifilo, his defense lawyer, who had a brilliant strategy. And Diddy screwed him over when he hired this videographer to chronicle his life without telling Mark Agnifilo that when Diddy and Mark were on the phone, this videographer was recording what Mark clearly expected to be an attorney-client privileged relationship. Now, it is true that the client holds that privilege, the lawyer doesn't, but Mark's clear expectation was that this was a private conversation. These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, "You are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing." And knowing that that's on tape. And it's almost like he's performing for the camera and not telling Mark what's going on.
By showing that his lawyers were aware of attempts to hide information, Diddy may have made them legally liable. Jaguar questioned whether this could lead to suspensions or investigations. If a lawyer knew what was happening and failed to act properly, serious consequences could follow. She said Diddy handed all of this evidence directly to Netflix.
It's fuck right now. Why? The truth is, they should all be under review by the bar associations that they're registered to. All of their licenses should be up for termination. With the shit that we saw in that documentary, with the way Mark Agnifilo was sitting there talking about filing lawsuits, filing fake lawsuits, creating all kinds of hoopla. That shit was on film. Lawyers ain't supposed to be talking that shit.
Yeah, those are strategies that you're not supposed to actually see.
Strategies?
Hey.
This shit is against the law. It's against the fucking law. That's why that black lawyer that left said, I cannot sit here and represent this. I can't represent this dude with the kind of shit that they doing. He wasn't interested in putting his motherfucking license on the line. But you get a weirdo, one the so-called survivor like Nicole Westmoreland, who's willing to get on the stand and cry for Diddy after she's been ran through by what, Cash Money Records?
All of this is happening while Diddy is working on his appeal. Jaguar said she is certain his lawyers are furious with him.
Well, there's a new appeal from hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. His defense team is seeking his immediate release from federal prison, calling his 50-month sentence on charges of transportation for prostitution excessive. CB Cotton has the details live from our New York newsroom. Good to see you, CB.
Hey, Lydia. Well, once one of the most powerful names in hip-hop, Sean Diddy Combs is now behind bars at that federal facility in Fort Dix, New Jersey, but his legal team says he should have never been sent there for this long. So on Tuesday, in an 84-page filing, Combs' attorneys asked a New York federal appeals court to immediately release Combs and send the case back for a new sentencing or grant him an acquittal. In July, a jury found Combs guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution and acquitted him of the most serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. In the fall, the judge then sentenced Combs to a little more than 4 years behind bars, citing testimony from former girlfriends who said they felt pressured to participate in drug-fueled sex parties with male escorts called hotel nights or freak-offs. But the rapper's lawyers argue this sentence was punishment for crimes that the jury rejected. They wrote in the filing, quote, "He sits in prison today serving a 50-month sentence because the district judge acted as a 13th juror. The judge defied the jury's verdict and found Combs, quote, coerced, exploited, and forced his girlfriends to have sex and led a criminal conspiracy," end quote.
She added that it is not just the appeal at risk. Diddy's lawyers are now personally involved. The documentary may have sealed Diddy's fate, and even his legal team could face serious consequences. This is why they are aggressively trying to have the documentary removed. Diddy's lawyers have already issued a cease and desist and are threatening to sue both 50 Cent and Netflix for more than $1 billion.
Overnight, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs trying to stop the release of a Netflix docuseries due out today.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business.
The series contains never-before-seen footage of Combs debating strategy with his lawyers in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last year.
I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
It also includes video of Combs greeting fans in Harlem.
Off my back, bro. I'm gonna win. As long as you win, be with it. I'll accept it.
And then saying this about the interaction moments later.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
Now Combs' lawyers are demanding Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, claiming Netflix is using stolen footage that was never authorized for release as part of what they call a shameful hit piece. The series is executive produced by Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and director Alex Stapleton, who said, quote, "We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights," end quote. Before the cease and desist demand was sent yesterday, Stapleton and Jackson sat down with our Robin Roberts to discuss the series.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
It's not personal.
Come out like, I'm like, okay, more footage is coming out. Great. Who y'all gonna cut out? Who y'all gonna edit out this time? Like, cause that's what I'm gonna be looking for. I'm gonna be looking for all of the shit that they cut out. If the complete and utter truth comes out, 3 things happen. The entertainment industry collapses completely. Millions, possibly billions of advertising dollars don't get made. People go broke. Companies go under. That's why they fucking hate me. Not because I'm telling the truth on people, because I'm telling the truth about the system. And I'm showing people the reality that the only thing that matters is that dollar. These entities, these companies, they don't care about none of these people. They don't care about none of these victims. They don't care about the perpetrators. They don't care about the prey. Shit, half the time, they're encouraging the predator. They don't care. It's all about the money.
Gene Deal said the same thing months earlier. He claimed Diddy was blackmailing other celebrities to gain leverage. The names of these powerful figures were what Gene Deal and Jaguar Wright were expected to expose. These were the people who were involved, benefited, or were protected.
It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie with the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now these people are represented by a brand, whether it's some about the music, clothing, movies. They're not going to come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not going to show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're going to start talking. And they're not going to be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape.
The most shocking part is that Diddy is now planning to release his own documentary. Justin and Christian Combs are expected to appear in it. This will be the first time since the trial began that either of them has publicly spoken about their father's crimes. The documentary is expected to be released in March 2026.
And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You got to realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's going to make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not going to say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self.
A lot of people feel like this whole new documentary is just a PR narrative, once again being pushed by Diddy and his sons to try to clean up his image. And after hearing certain things on 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, we have to go back in time and remember what we were seeing during trial. Even when it came to Diddy's sons, Christian and Justin Combs, they both came on two separate occasions to trial wearing a free Sean Combs shirt. The first one to do this was Christian Combs during Jane's testimony, and you're not supposed to wear this stuff in front of a jury to try to sway their opinions. And the judge actually told him he had to leave and take it off. And then literally like a week later, Justin did the same exact thing. It was taken out of of the courtroom by the judge. And we already saw the videos in the Netflix doc of Diddy talking to Justin, saying he needed to push out certain content to control a narrative. During the trial, there were a lot of things going on that I could see that, to me, felt like it was just straight PR. Do you remember all of these people that were wearing the free Diddy shirts? And it was actually a meme coin.
So what do you think? Should these stories finally come out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you want more deep dives, and subscribe so you do not miss the next episode where we break down what Netflix and 50 Cent tried to keep hidden.